Good afternoon, my dear students. So, again, I'm here to help you out during this COVID-19 pandemic situation in the world regarding your studies of economics. So, I'm here and I'm just working with my school's e-learning initiative, and you know the name of my school, that is Cambridge International School, the SUA, and that is your school too. So being a proud part of this school, I'm just going to deliver you now today's revision topic. So this class is for grade 10. So let's see what we have in the next slide. So today we're going to start with the revision part, and as my students are going to have exam on 3rd June, so all the best for that exam, and I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you for learning and revising this chapter again. So number is 2, and the name of the chapter is Sectors of the Indian Economy. Topic revision and grade 10. This is for grade 10 students. So all sections of grade 10, this is going to be useful. And subject is economics, and my name is Ms. Sarita Sani. So I'm going to start with today's topic for revision. So let's see. So topics to be covered for today. So we are going to cover, first topic is sectors of economic activities, then comparing three sectors, then how do we count the various goods and services and know the total production in each sector, then historical changes in sectors, then we're going to learn about primary, secondary and tertiary sectors in India. So how they were just moving around. So that is the rising importance of the tertiary sector in production. Then where are most of the people employed? Then how to create more employment. Then division of sectors as organized and unorganized sector. So it is based on the conditions, employment conditions. Then is how to protect workers in the unorganized sector. So then in the last, sectors in the terms of ownership, that is public and private sectors. So let's move to the now today's topic. So the first thing is we're going to learn about the sectors of Indian economy, and this is going to be your chapters slide, which is showing what we are earning with all these sectors. So that is money. So let's move to the next slide. That is, so name of the chapter is sectors of the Indian economy. Now let's, then is economic activities. So what are economic activities? Economic activities are those activities which are done by human beings to earn money. So basically in Indian economy, we have three types of economic activities which are divided into three sectors. So these three sectors are, simply if you have to learn PST. So we learn with this. P stands for primary sector, S stand for secondary sector, T stand for tertiary sector. So now let's move to the next slides and we will learn all about these sectors in detail. So this is going to be your first sector, and which is the first sector? So let's see. So there are three sectors, not only one sector. So we are showing all sectors in the pictures. There are small icons which is representing various pictures. So the first, you can see on the very left hand side there is a picture, and that is showing agriculture. So your agriculture is the part of which sector? That is primary sector. And forestry, that is also the part of this. Then another sector is, you can see after this picture on the mid of the left and right hand side and near to the pyramids, like top, there is one tractor. So there is a picture of a tractor. So that is again the part of your primary sector. And there is again combine on the left side down towards to the left of the secondary sector. So that is showing production of goods through industries. So industries we are going to see with this. Then as you can see the tower here. So then there is a factory, there is a like building. Fine. So then a lady, she's sitting on the computer. So somebody who is using telecommunication and who is using internet, that comes under your tertiary sector. Services are the part of this. So production, that is the factory which they are showing here. The building is there and the offices, they're representing the factory. So that is secondary sector. So that is the part of the secondary sector. So now let's move to the next slide and see what is in that. That is primary sector. So what comes in primary sector? Primary sector activities undertaken by directly using natural resources. So example is agriculture, mining, fishing, forestry, dairy. So it is called primary sector because it forms the base for all products, all other products that we subsequently make, since most of the natural product we get are from agriculture, dairy, forestry, fishing. It is also called agriculture and related sector. So I hope this is clear to you. Now see what we have in the pictures. So the first picture is showing you the person. There is a farmer who is taking his crops on the cart. That is bullock cart. So now see the next picture that is related to this. So that is the farmer who is just with the help of the bullocks, just doing the plowing of the farms. So they're just using the plowing of the farm. So हल चला रहा है, simply in the words हल चला के वो अपनी जो है मिट्टी उसको वो खोद रहा है, ठीक है. So let's move to the next slide, that is secondary sector. So it covers activities in which natural products are changed into other forms through ways of manufacturing that we associate with the industrial activity. So it is next step after primary, where the product is not produced by nature but has to be made. So it has to be made. Fine. Some process of manufacturing is essential. It could be in a factory, a workshop, or at home. Example, using cotton fiber from plant, we spin yarn and weave cloth. Using sugarcane as a raw material, we make sugar or good. We convert earth into bricks. So all these are the examples. So since this sector is associated with different kinds of industries, it is called industrial sector. So क्योंकि इसमें सारी जो activities है वो industry में perform की जाती है, processes जो है industry में perform की जाती है, so we call this sector as industrial or manufacturing sector. So let's see the pictures related to this. So the first picture is related to this automobile industry. So the car which we are showing here is Tata Nano. So this is again the example of your secondary sector. So here we are doing the production of automobile industry. Now see the next one. That is, you can see there are constructions. So you can see the beaches, restaurants and all. So they are just showing all these things. So these are the part of your secondary sector. So you can see the shells, even they are using it and making it many things. So all these things are the part of your secondary sector. Now let's move to the next slide, that is tertiary sector. So in the tertiary sector, these are the activities. So here we are not producing any goods, but yes, we are producing only services here. So these are the activities that help in the development of primary and secondary sector. So these activities by themselves do not produce good, but they are an aid and support to the production processes. Example is, you can see the example, transportation, then is storage, then is communication, then is banking. So all these are the examples of services which we are using. So this sector is also known as service sector. So what are the pictures related to this? You can see here now. So the first picture is depicting the transportation services. There is a truck which is holding many sacks of this food grains. So that is also the example of transportation. So they are transporting the food grain sacks from one place to another. Now let's see the next thing. That is the banking services. So who counts currency notes? Banks generally. So the cashier who is sitting in the bank, they are usually counting the currency notes. So these are the services which I am covering here in the pictures. So this is showing you tertiary sector. Fine. Now let's move to the next slide. So what we have in the next slide, let's see this. Now, in this slide, you can see there are three sectors and how these three sectors are interdependent on one another. So you can see production of things is done with the help of natural resources, and then that resources are utilized. Now, those resources are further used for making the natural products are then further processed in the industry, and that will be changed into the second forms and into many forms. The raw material for shirt, for making of cloth, that is cotton, and that is produced naturally with the primary sector, and then it is processed to make thread then thread to cloth that will be weaved with the help of machines only. Now, this these things are again dependent upon these are also dependent upon next sector. It help in development of the primary and secondary sector. So tertiary sector will provide financial help. They will provide them storage. So all these things are the part of this interdependence. Fine. So this is the way how primary, secondary and tertiary sector are interrelated to each other, dependent on each other. Now let's move to the next slide. So next is service sector includes. So what are we are including in these sectors? See in the pictures. So you can see the pictures that is related to many services. So education related services, your BPO related services, some of the services that is working on international level. So some of the people who are working with the MNCs. So you can see some of the people, they are working abroad. Find some of the people that is working as clients for other jobs even. So now let's move to the next thing which we include here. So here you can see that this is the example of stock exchange. So how people are investing in that with the help of services given by brokers and all these things, that is the part of services. Now let's move to the next slide. That is, how do we count the various goods and services and know the total production in each sector? So let's see what is in this. So people who are doing work, who are rickshaw puller, they are also doing some work, but इनकी services को कैसे add करना है, कैसे include करना है? So let's see how we are going to add all these services. So transportation also we have to include all these services. So see how we are calculating. So GDP, there is a concept of GDP. So what is in GDP? Let's see. So the value of final goods and services produced in each sector during a particular year, एक साल में हमने कितनी सर्विसेज दी हैं, कितनी गुड्स प्रोड्यूस करी हैं, उन सबको हर सेक्टर में से हमने क्या करना है, ऐड करना है. एंड व्हेन वी आर एडिंग ऑल दीज sectors, so we call it as gross domestic production. So GDP of the country, it is the value of final goods and services produced within the country during a particular year. So GDP shows how big the economy is. Measuring GDP is undertaken by the central government of ministry and with the help of government departments, Indian states and union territories. All these are they are measuring the GDP. So GDP is gross domestic production. जो हमारी country में एक साल में जितनी भी production हुई है, we take it as the part of GDP. Fine. So GDP हम तीनों sectors का add करके लेते हैं. ठीक है? So let's move to the next slide now. So you can see there are many services. This is just a symbol to show you how we are doing all these things. Now, what does not count towards GDP? So what are the things we are not including while calculating the GDP? So let's see, if GDP is going to be effective, we must avoid. So avoid counting goods and services multiple times. So what we are doing, we are generally including the things twice, thrice while calculating the GDP. So therefore, only final goods are counted and not intermediate goods. So this we have already covered. So example I can give you, bakery will purchase flour, wheat flour to make bread, the wheat flour is intermediate good and its price is not included in GDP calculations. Only the market value of final product, the loaf of bread, is counted. So this avoids double counting. Fine. So now see, there are different sectors and these are just showing you the growth. So you can see agriculture is now not growing much, but services are growing highly. So, and manufacturing sector is also growing. Next is the share sectors, a share of sectors in GDP. So how much sector is doing like development. So this data is quite like old, but still there is information that is mentioned here. So you can see how we have to represent. So in the beginning years, you can see the primary sector was very important for the country, like India. Fine. After that, there was little like progress in secondary sector, and there was even little less than second this primary sector. There is also development in the services. So in 2003 you can see the scenario has changed. Now people are no more interested in farming or agriculture activities, that means primary sector. So the number of people who were working earlier in the primary sector, that has decreased now, and the number of people who are working in the factories, that has remained same, as these both sector requires investment. So another sector, that is tertiary sector. So here we are not requiring any investment. So here people now, maximum people in the countries are interested in doing jobs. So that is tertiary sector. So that is why tertiary sector has now grown up to 55%. So this is what we have the share of GDP. ठीक है, सबसे ज़्यादा शेयर किसका होगा? tertiary sector का होगा. Now let's move to the next slide. That is historical change in the sectors. Three stages. So there are three stages when we are talking about historical changes in the sectors. So let's move to the next thing. So the first stage is after observing the changes that have come in the development patterns of the sectors, it has been found that in the initial stages of the development, primary sector was the most important sector for of economic activity. As the methods of farming changed, agriculture sector began to prosper. It produced much more food than before, and many people could take up many other activities, which led to the increase in number of activities. However, at this stage, most of the goods produced were natural products from the primary sector. Hence, most people were employed in this sector. So this was the first stage, and agriculture was most important sector for various countries. So whether it is developed, whether it is developing. Now let's move to the next stage of historical changes. So we have both the stages together now. So the first stage is now here. The second stage is over a long time, more than 100 years. So next 100 years, what happened? Because new methods of manufacturing were introduced. So factories में new methods of manufacturing जो थे उनको launch किया गया था. So factories came up and started expanding. People began to work in factories in large numbers, and also people started using factory goods in large numbers as they were cheap. So people started now using machine made goods. So next is secondary sector gradually became the most important as compared to the agriculture. So here employment, there was a shift, and importance of this sector also changed. Now next thing is third stage. So in past 100, there has been a further shift from secondary to tertiary sector in the developed countries. The service sector has become the most important in terms of total production. So service sector was most important when we are talking about total production. So most of working people are also employed in the service sector. So most of the people जितने भी थे उनको उन्होंने क्या किया था, अब सर्विस सेक्टर में वो वर्क करना स्टार्ट कर दिए थे. ठीक है. Now let's move to the next slide, that is rising importance of tertiary sector. So in production, so you can see over 30 years, even 1973 to 2003, production in the tertiary sector has increased the most, and it has emerged as a large producing sector in India, replacing the primary sector. So we have already done this thing. The role of tertiary sector in India transition shows level of country development. So it improves a specialization, but it's better to avoid extending service part in economy over 40 to 50% of GDP. So हमारा 55% तक पहुंच गया था. Now let's move to the next slide, that is the pictures related to this. Now, what are the services increased? So you can see there are different services again. So many services are changed now. Tertiary sector में देखो यहाँ पे first जो हो रहा है, that is they are doing like slaughtering, I guess that is the point. They are doing they're cutting the trees and then making the logs, and then they are just throwing it into the rivers, and then it will be like collected. Then it is stitching. You can see there is a large number of people who are stitching, and then is the pottery. So they are making the pottery. Then is the factories, construction sites. You can see here. So all these services has increased. Now let's move to the next. Now, this slide is showing you a classification on the basis of ownership and sectors of an economy. That is public sector. So what is public sector? We have to discuss about this. So public sector is organized by government. So next is we have the different types of sectors. So public sector is organized by the government, and it provides facilities to the workers like fixed employment, fixed working hours. So its main aim is to provide public welfare. So its main aim is to provide public welfare. So public sector हमेशा public welfare के लिए ही काम करते हैं. ठीक है. Examples of public sector are Indian Railways, or hospitals, parks, libraries, etc. Now let's move to the next slide, that is you can see the companies which are working in the public sector. So BHEL, that is Bharat Heavy Electrical Limited. Then is Bharat Petroleum. So Indian Oil, HP Gas. Fine. So ONGC Videsh, that they are mentioned. Indian Oil, SAIL, Steel Authorities of India Limited, then IRCTC, then Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited, BSNL जो आपका बोलते हैं, United India Insurance, UII, that is the name, then Power Finance Corporation Limited है आपकी जो electricity आती है, then Nurmaligarh Refinery Limited. So all these are the part of this. Next, see the picture. So these are all public sectors. So you can see all the bridges that will be made with the help of all these tunnels, kind of this pipes you can see. So we are using all this with the public sector only. Now let's move to the next slide, that is private sector. So what is private sector doing here? So it is organized by private individuals. अगर मैं अपनी कोई company खोल लूँ तो it will be the part of my private sector. Now it does not provide fixed employment. इसके लिए कोई fixed employment अपने जब मन होगा तो मैं अपने employee को बुलाऊंगी, जब मेरा मन होएगा मैं shop बंद करूंगी और उसको बोलूंगी जाए. ठीक है. और फिक्स्ड वर्किंग आवर्स नहीं है. कई बार मैं नहीं होंगी शॉप पे तो उसको बोलूंगी आप सारा टाइम वहां पे रहो. सो दैट विल बी, उसके लिए कोई फिक्स्ड वर्किंग आवर्स नहीं है. द मेन एम इज टू मेक मेनी प्रॉफिट्स फॉर देमसेल्व्स. सो यहाँ पे मेन एम क्या होता है कि अपने प्रॉफिट्स बनाने हैं. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट एग्जांपल्स ऑफ प्राइवेट सेक्टर आर बिरला कंपनी, रिलायंस एटसेट्रा. तो ये सारे आते हैं. सी द एग्जांपल्स. So there is private sector, so many are there. So you can see value add, supply, that all points are the part of this. Next is end users, private and public, then NSTEI. So that is the point. Now let's move to the next slide. That is Visa, British Airways, Kellogg's, EasyJet, Prudential. All these are the private companies, private sector part companies. Now let's move to the next slide. That is now here is the difference between, you can see the comparison between public and private sector. So this is very simple one. So as we have already read about all these things, public sector is that sector which is just thinking of public welfare. So how we are thinking of welfare, just see that one. So the first point is meaning. The section of nation's economy which is under the control of government, whether it is central, whether state or local, it is known as public sector. So as compared to this, we have private sector. So what about private sector? So the section of nation's economy which is owned and controlled by private individuals or companies is known as private sector. Basic objective, that public sector is to serve the citizens or the public welfare, but for private sector it is to earn profit. Next is raises money from. So public sector, public revenue like taxes, duty, penalty, etc., they are raising money from this sector, these uh, services. Now when we talk about private sector, issuing shares or and debentures or by taking loans, they are raising money like this. Areas: police, army, mining, health, manufacturing, electricity, education, transport, telecommunication, agriculture, banking, insurance, etc. So all these areas are the part of public sector. Now when we talk about private sector, finance, information technology, mining, transport, education, telecommunication, manufacturing, banking, construction, pharmaceuticals, etc. all are the part of private sector. Now benefits of working. So when we talk about the benefits of working, job security, retirement benefits, allowances, perquisites, all these are the benefits. People who are working in public sector, they are getting the benefits of this. Next is good salary package, competitive environment, incentives. We talk about all these, that then we are talking about private sector. So basis of promotion. So in generally public sector, we are having the basis for promotion is seniority, and when we talk about private sector, the basis for promotion is merit. So who is doing better work, there that person will be getting the promotion. Job stability. When we talk about public sector, so job stability is always there in public sector, but in private sector there is no jobs stability. So that's all for comparison between private and public sector. Qualities of private sector. So what are the qualities we are having? So still people are just trying to work in the private sector, but still we have many qualities to work in private sector. So the first one is job security, second is generous benefits, third is most relaxed in atmosphere, then fourth is opportunities for promotion as the company grows. Fine. The fifth is these jobs tend to pay higher. Then sixth is more prestige. Then private sector is supposedly more efficient, less bureaucracy. So here we are not seeing any kind of like officers who are ruling unnecessarily. So all there is efficiency required rather than just thinking of bureaucratic paths. Now let's move to the next slide, that is differentiate between final goods and intermediate goods. So I've given different colors you can see here. So this is just to make you more like attractive towards these points. So sometimes your students will just learn मैम ने mistake कर दिया, so you will learn with all these points. So final goods में point same है दोनों के, उसका opposite दूसरे का ही है, ठीक है. So final goods and intermediate goods में हम लोग first point कर रहे हैं. First point is the goods which are used either for final consumption or for capital formation. Fine. So that we are taking into consideration of this. Then it is intermediate goods. So intermediate goods में first point is the goods which are used up in producing the final goods and services. Final goods which are ready to use. मान लो मेरे पास पेन था एक, तो उसको मैंने सीधा पकड़ के यूज करना स्टार्ट कर दिया, दैट इज फाइनल गुड. बट बिफोर पेन मेरे पास एक इंक थी, उसके बाद वो बॉडी थी पेन की, ठीक है, उसके बाद वो जो निब थी वो दैट विल बी डिफरेंट. सो ऑल दीज पॉइंट्स इफ आई एम यूजिंग टू मेक अ फाइनल गुड, दैट इज इंटरमीडिएट गुड्स. ठीक है, तो क्लियर हो गया नेम से. अब है वैल्यू ऑफ फाइनल गुड्स, जो है हम लोग नेशनल इनकम में ऐड करते हैं, बट वैल्यू ऑफ intermediate goods or the raw material which we are using to make final goods, we are not including in the national income. Next is example: television, bread, bakery, etc. are the final products. And example for intermediate goods is flour, cotton, etc. Right. Now let's move to the next slide. That is now the next slide is how do we count the various goods and services and know the total production in each sector. So there are certain guidelines which we follow for calculating the total production in a given sector. So the first point is the value of goods are calculated rather than the numbers of the individual goods. Fine. So what we are doing, we are taking the value of all goods. ठीक है, वैल्यू ऑफ द गुड्स आर कैलकुलेटेड रादर देन द नंबर ऑफ इंडिविजुअल गुड्स. एक एक चीज को नहीं हमने काउंट करना, हमने क्या करना, सारी गुड्स की वैल्यू जो है वो लेनी है. ठीक है. The value calculated is of the final products and services which automatically includes the values of the intermediate goods and services. So what we are including? We are including only and only final products and services. We are not including intermediate goods value again and again in the final goods. So we are just taking the value of final goods. Fine. So next is the total production is then acquired by adding the total value of final value of the goods and services in a given sector. So suppose we have three sectors, so we have to take the value of all the goods and services produced in each sector. Fine. When we are going to add all together, so we are able to calculate GDP of each sector alone, and even we are able to calculate the GDP for the whole country. Fine. So this is the point. Now let's move to the next slide, that is rising importance of tertiary sector. This question was asked many times for CBSE exams. So let's do this one. So the very first thing is, whenever we are thinking any economy, any country will start working, so the basic thing, basic services are required, that is hospitals, transport, banks, etc. are required. Then aid and support to others, to other sectors. So the development of agriculture and industry leads to the development of services such as transport, trade, storage, etc. So that is the point. So aid and support to other sectors. So that is the point. Next is rising income. So as income level rise, certain sections of people start demanding many more services like eating out, tourism, shopping, private hospitals, etc. So all these points are there. Now next is new technology. So over the past decade or so, certain new services such as those based on information and communication technology have become important and essential. The production of these services has been rising rapidly. So the very first thing is, जब भी कोई इकोनॉमी, जब भी कोई कंट्री स्टार्ट करती है अपना काम करना, मेनली जब बनती है, सो द बेसिक थिंग्स आर रिक्वायर्ड. हेल्थ के लिए हॉस्पिटल्स होने चाहिए, ट्रांसपोर्ट आने जाने के लिए ट्रांसपोर्ट होना चाहिए, पैसे के लिए बैंक्स होने चाहिए. सो ऑल दीज आर द बेसिक सर्विसेज दैट एवरी country requires. Next is aid and support. So every country requires aid and support to their industries and agriculture sector. That will be also provided with the help of transport, trade, storage, etc. Cold storages are required for storing the crops, even the vegetables, even the fruits. So due for this storing of vegetables and fruits for longer time period. And next is rising income. So when income rises of any person, he will start asking for more services like tourism, shopping, malls, and etc. Then private hospitals, they are thinking to make their their children study in the private schools, etc. So all we are considering in this. Next is new technology. So with new technology like communication and ICT, like, so it is increasing day by day. So we are also even studying now with the help of this new technology. So this is all leading to the importance of tertiary sector. Now let's move to the next slide, that is now the next classification is on the basis of employment, and we can say the employment conditions. So sectors of economy are organized sector, unorganized sector. So we will do it in detail in the next slides. Organized sector. So organized sector, as you know, defense forces, other sectors like these VPOs, fine banks, etc. So all these are the part of uh, organized sector. So people have assured work and terms of employment are always regular. So they have fixed working hours, they have all the benefits of even doing work at overtime. So all these things are the part of unorganized sector. So the last type of sectors is unorganized sector. So unorganized sector is characterized by small and scattered units which are largely outside the control of the government. So there are rules and regulations, but these are not followed. Low paid jobs are not regular and are not regular. So what are the characteristics you can see here even? So unorganized sector क्या है? Small and scattered units. मतलब एक शॉप इधर है दूसरी कहीं और है. So यहाँ पे जो बिजनेस है वो छोटे छोटे यूनिट्स में एंड काफी एरियाज में स्कैटर्ड फॉर्म में होगा. ठीक है. एंड गवर्नमेंट का इन यूनिट्स के ऊपर कोई भी कंट्रोल नहीं है. ठीक है. देन देयर आर रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस एज सच गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से डिफाइन किए जाएंगे बट दे आर not followed. So it is up to the wish of the owner whether he is following or whether he is not following. Fine. Next is low paid jobs. So ये jobs mainly जो होती हैं that is for low paid. These are with low pay. Fine. Next, and are not regular. So you can see the people who are working in the construction. So labor who is working in the construction sites. So they are not getting the regular jobs in the construction. Fine. So these are low paid jobs even. Next is disadvantages from the employers. So what are the disadvantages these employees face? The first thing is there is no provision for overtime. So उनके लिए कोई भी जितना मर्जी काम करे overtime की provision कभी नहीं provide होती. They are not provided with paid leaves. So there are no paid leaves, then no holidays, no leave due to sickness is there. Then employment is not secure. Employment इनकी secure नहीं है. Example, farmers work on their own and hire laborers as and when they require. Some people can also be asked to leave the job. So farmers का example ले सकते हैं जब उनको जरूरत है तब उनको वो रखते हैं लेबर को जब उनको नहीं requirement है then they just ask them to leave the job. So यहाँ पे कुछ भी मतलब secured नहीं है. ठीक है. Now let's move to the next sector, that is. Now, this is a slide which is giving me difference between organized and unorganized sector. So in the organized sector, cover those enterprises where the terms of employment are regular, and as comparison to this, unorganized sector is characterized by small and scattered units which are largely outside the control of the government. They are registered by governments. When we talk about organized sector, these are registered by government. They follow rules and regulations and various laws such as the Factories Act, Minimum Wages Act, Payment of Gratuity Acts, shops and establishments. Unorganized sector does not follow any rules and regulation passed by government. Fine. So now next is workers in the organized sector are paid according to prescribed scale. They also get payment in time on regular basis. So they are getting salaries on time. So when we talk about unorganized sector, most of the jobs are low paid and often not regular in pay. Next point is they get annual increment. When we talk about the organized sector, they are getting allowances like provident fund, payment during holidays, so paid leave, gratuity, medical benefits, safe working conditions, etc. So all these things are the part of this. Then there is no provision of overtime, paid leave, holidays, leave due to sickness, etc. All are the part of this. Then they can form trade unions when we talk about organized sector, but in the unorganized sector we cannot make any kind of trade unions. Now next move to the next slide. Let's move to the next slide. So how we can protect workers in the unorganized sectors? There are certain points which are helpful for this. So because as workers are exploited maximum time, so we need to protect our workers in the unorganized sector. The first thing is setting up of small scale industries in semi-rural areas. So हमें गाँव के साथ लगते टाउन्स वगैरह में हमें क्या करनी है स्मॉल स्केल इंडस्ट्रीज सेटअप करनी है implementing many programs such as NREGA 2005. So all are the programs like this, they can be like started for the welfare of the workers in the unorganized sector, creating job opportunities in service sector like schools, tourism, hospitals, etc. So all will be created for the workers who are working in the unorganized sector. So next is allow credits at a lower rate. So credit means loan that will be provided at lower rate so they can start their own businesses. Now the next slide is unemployment. So what is the meaning of unemployment? Unemployment is in general sense is unemployment is a situation in which those who are able and working able and willing to work at prevailing wage rate do not find job. जो काम जिसे काम आता है और जो काम करना चाहता है और उसको अगर काम नहीं मिलता है, जो प्रॉपर उसको वेज चाहिए उस रेट पे नहीं मिलता है, तो we call that as unemployment. A person who is physically fit, that person can do a job. Next thing is mentally sound, well qualified, willing to work at prevailing wage rate, so but does not get job. This situation is called unemployment. So I guess this is clear to you. Now let's move to the next slide, that is types of unemployment. Generally we have 5 types of unemployment, and mainly that is in our part of syllabus, that is disguise and seasonal. So rest all are in the grade 11. Structural unemployment is there, cyclical unemployment is there, and frictional and seasonal and disguise. So little bit knowledge of these unemployment I can give you now. Next is types of unemployment. So structural, when we talk about structural unemployment, that is results from industrial reorganization, often due to technological changes rather than fluctuations in supply or demand. So यहाँ पे क्या होता है, जब भी टेक्नोलॉजी में चेंज आता है तो जब उसकी वजह से अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट होती है. जैसे फ्यू इयर्स बैक लोगों ने सारा का सारा काम कंप्यूटराइज कर दिया था. सो इन दैट केस द पीपल हु वर डूइंग ऑल वर्क इन द manual form, they need to take trainings for this. So this is called structural unemployment, and people who were not able to train themselves, then they need to be unemployed. Next is seasonal. Seasonal is occurs when jobs are only available at certain times of the year. For example, Santa Claus impersonators. So that is also the point, like they're getting job, they are just getting job near these Christmas period. So that is Santa Claus impersonators. Fine. So like I can give you seasonal, like crops are grown seasonally. So on the basis of season, when they are getting jobs, harvesting and growing season. So in the sowing season, they are getting the jobs. So that is also called seasonal jobs. Seasonal. If they're not getting a job in a particular season, we call it as seasonal unemployment. Then is cyclical unemployment. So it relates to cyclical trends in growth and production that occur within the business cycle. When the business cycle is at its peak, cyclical unemployment is low. So जब भी बिजनेस में अच्छे प्रॉफिट्स रहेंगे, जब बिजनेस आगे बढ़ेगा तो तब साइक्लिकल अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट काफी कम होती है. फ्रिक्शनल आती है, occurs when worker moves from one job to another and spends time trying to find his or her ideal job. So exists even when there is a full employment. ये कब होगी, जब full employment हमारी create होगी. ठीक है. So at that point we are getting this thing. So now the next topic. Next is disguise unemployment. This is the part of our syllabus, and this is the part of your chapter even. So this question was asked by CBSE many times, so let's learn about this. And I'm going to give you example for this even. When more people are engaged in some activity than the number of person required for that, it is called disguise unemployment. अब अगर आपको इकोनॉमिक्स पढ़ने के लिए सिर्फ एक ही टीचर की जरूरत है, तो if we are hiring 2 teachers, then it is disguised unemployment. ठीक है. Disguised unemployment exists where part of labor force is either left without work or is working in a redundant manner where worker productivity is essentially zero. या तो एक बहुत अच्छे से काम करेंगे, या बिल्कुल कम कर देंगे, एक दूसरे को देख के overlapping of work करेंगे. Example, an agriculture field require 4 laborers, but people engaged in this activity were 6. So this unemployment for 2 laborers is called disguised unemployment. So I hope this is clear to you. So with this, revision of your chapter is over, and my dear students, I wish you good luck for your online quiz for the second time, and I know you people are going to do well in this exam. So thank you so much. In the end, I would say thank you so much. God bless you. Enjoy learning at home and study in a better way, and enjoy with your family while learning with this e-learning initiative. So Cambridge International School, the SUA is with you. So whenever you have any kind of query, you can give me call or you can WhatsApp me. So I'll help you out to solve your queries. So thank you so much. God bless you. Take care of yourself and your family, and stay happy, stay healthy. Enjoy learning at home with Cambridge International School, Dasua. Thank you so much.